One day, an ancient spacecraft came crashing down to Earth. The impact was so massive that debris rained across the entire city. The largest piece landed in a remote area, where scientists rushed to investigate the mysterious wreckage. While examining the wreckage, researchers discovered a strange life form attached to the metal. It was tiny, almost insignificant, yet it appeared capable of surviving in even the harshest conditions. As Director Tucker prepared to leave the site, a young girl handed him a small fragment recovered from the crash. The same strange organisms were attached to it. The moment Tucker touched the fragment, one of them suddenly bit his hand. A small wound. Nothing serious, or so it seemed. But later that night, something horrifying began happening to him. His body started shaking uncontrollably. Veins bulged beneath his skin. His face twisted into something almost unrecognizable. It looked as if he was transforming into someone else. Then morning came, and somehow, Tucker looked perfectly normal, almost too normal, as if nothing had happened at all. Without wasting any time, he called his ex-wife, Carol, and asked to see their son. Carol immediately refused. Tucker argued that the boy was his son too, but Carol wasn't interested in debating. She simply hung up. Later, she met her boyfriend Ben, a doctor. After hearing the situation, Ben pointed out that Tucker still had legal rights as a father. Like it or not, Carol couldn't keep them apart forever. So the following day, she drove her son to Tucker's house. But the moment the boy saw his father, something felt wrong. Very wrong. Tucker barely moved. His expression was completely blank. His eyes showed no emotion, no warmth. No excitement, nothing. He looked less like a father and more like a machine pretending to be one. Then, without saying much, he quietly offered his son a cup of hot chocolate. Later that night, Carol was alone at home. She was heating water in the kitchen when a sudden knock echoed through the house. The sound immediately put her on edge. Carefully, she opened the door just enough to keep the security chain locked. Standing outside was a stranger. His face was expressionless. His eyes looked empty. In a flat, lifeless voice, he said, "I'm with the Census Department. I just need to ask you a few questions." Something about him felt wrong, deeply wrong. Trying to stay calm, Carol replied, "Just a moment." But the instant she turned away, the man suddenly forced his hand through the doorway. Carol rushed back and struggled to hold the door shut. A powerful shove knocked her to the floor. For a terrifying moment, she thought he was going to break in, but somehow she managed to keep the door closed. Eventually, the stranger walked away. Relieved, Carol looked through the window to make sure he was gone, and what she saw sent a chill down her spine. The way he moved wasn't normal. It was stiff, unnatural, almost like someone pretending to be human. Now completely shaken, Carol immediately called Ben and asked him to come over. For a moment, she believed the worst was behind her. She was wrong. The next day, while heading to work, Carol noticed something disturbing. People were staring at her, not just one or two people, everyone. Their faces were emotionless, their eyes looked hollow, and instead of curiosity, there was something far more unsettling in their expressions. It felt as if they were watching her, studying her, waiting for something. Terrified, Carol realized that whatever was happening wasn't isolated anymore. Something much bigger was unfolding. Desperate for answers, she rushed to her office and began searching for information. What she discovered was deeply alarming. Reports were appearing everywhere. People claimed their friends, family members, and loved ones weren't acting like themselves anymore. Their behavior had changed. Their personalities had changed. And many were beginning to fear the same terrifying possibility, that the people they knew were slowly being replaced by something else. Terrified by everything she had witnessed, Carol turned to Ben for answers. One of Ben's colleagues was there as well, and what he revealed was deeply disturbing. Investigators now believed the object that crashed to Earth had brought something with it, something that wasn't supposed to be here. According to early reports, whatever emerged from the wreckage appeared to be connected to the strange behavioral changes spreading across the country. For Carol, that was all she needed to hear. She immediately rushed to Tucker's house to find her son, but when she arrived, something felt off. Several unfamiliar people were already inside, standing together, watching her. Tucker calmly explained that their son had gone to a friend's house. His voice sounded normal, but there was something unsettling about the way he spoke. Trying not to panic, Carol went upstairs to gather some of her son's belongings. A few minutes later, she came back downstairs. That's when she realized the front door was locked. Then she noticed something even worse. Everyone in the house was slowly moving closer, surrounding her. Carol's heart began racing. "What is going on?" she asked. Tucker looked directly at her. Then, in an eerily calm voice, he said, "When you wake up, None of this will matter. You'll still be you. You'll feel the same, think the same. Everything will be exactly as it should be." At that moment, Carol finally understood. The man standing in front of her wasn't the same Tucker anymore. She turned and tried to run, but Tucker grabbed her. Then he did something horrifying. A strange substance emerged from his mouth and landed directly on her face. Panic took over. Somehow, Carol managed to break free and escape outside. She jumped into her car and tried to leave, but the neighborhood was already surrounded. People stood everywhere, watching, waiting. She backed up. The road behind her was blocked too. With no way out, Carol abandoned the car and ran. Immediately, several of them started following her. She sprinted through the streets and eventually disappeared into a subway station. Moments later, she boarded a train. At first, everything seemed normal. Then she looked around. Passengers sat perfectly still. No conversations, no movement, no emotion. It felt less like a train full of people and more like a room full of statues. Carol had no idea what to do. Then suddenly, her son's face appeared on her phone. He looked terrified. In a trembling voice, he explained that strangers had taken him somewhere. He didn't know where he was, and he was scared. Hearing his voice only strengthened Carol's determination to find him. Then a man sitting nearby quietly leaned toward her. Without looking at her, he whispered, "Don't show emotion." Carol froze. The stranger continued, "If they realize you're different, they'll come for you." From that moment on, Carol forced herself to remain calm. No fear, no anger, no reaction. A short time later, several of the changed people entered the train, silently moving through the passengers, watching, searching. Then suddenly, a woman lost control and started screaming. Instantly, the entire train erupted into chaos. Within minutes, almost everyone had been taken, but somehow, Carol escaped before they could reach her. When she finally emerged from the subway station, the city no longer felt familiar. People were everywhere, yet the streets felt strangely lifeless. Anyone who laughed, anyone who cried, anyone who showed fear immediately attracted attention. Even the police appeared to be part of it now. Then one officer noticed Carol. He slowly approached her. For a moment, she thought she was finished, but instead, he quietly whispered, "You need to leave." Carol stared at him in shock. "If they find out you're not one of them," he paused, "they won't let you live." And that's when she realized something incredible. The officer wasn't one of them at all. He was pretending. At the same time, Carol noticed long lines of people waiting to receive what appeared to be a vaccine. But the truth was far more disturbing. The people standing in line believed they were being protected. In reality, every injection was helping the mysterious takeover spread even faster. Soon afterward, Carol met with Ben and another doctor. The doctor explained that whatever had arrived from the crashed spacecraft was moving from one host to another. But the most terrifying part was how it worked. According to him, the organism remained dormant while a person was awake, but the moment they fell asleep, everything changed. By the time they opened their eyes again, they looked the same, sounded the same, remembered everything, but they were no longer the person they used to be. After hearing this, they made a difficult decision. No one was going to sleep. They would stay awake and monitor each other at all times. The doctor also revealed that a laboratory nearly 50 miles away might hold the key to stopping the outbreak, but Carol refused to leave. Finding her son was more important than anything else. Before they could decide what to do next, several of the changed people entered the building and began searching every room. Fortunately, Carol and the others managed to blend in and slip away unnoticed. While escaping, Carol witnessed police officers dragging away a terrified woman. The woman kept screaming, "I fell asleep. I didn't know what was happening." Those words immediately caught Carol's attention. If the woman had fallen asleep, why hadn't the transformation completed? Later, Carol and Ben examined her medical records. That's when they discovered something unusual. As a child, the woman had suffered from a rare neurological disorder known as ADEM. Suddenly, Carol remembered something important. Her son had suffered from the exact same condition after recovering from chickenpox as a child. Everything suddenly started making sense. For the first time, Carol realized that her son might be immune. That would explain why he had never fully changed, and why he had been desperately trying to contact her. Meanwhile, when the scientist at the laboratory learned about this discovery, he became excited. "If this is true," he said, "we may finally have a way to stop all of this." At first, they believed they needed the woman's blood, but now they had an even better possibility: Carol's son. If he was truly immune, he could be the key to creating a cure. Just then, Carol received a message from him. He revealed that his grandmother had taken him to her house. Finally, Carol knew where he was. Unfortunately, reaching him would be almost impossible. The city was now filled with people who had already changed. During all of this, Carol finally confessed something terrifying to Ben. "Tucker got to me," she admitted. "I'm afraid that if I fall asleep, I'll become one of them." Knowing time was running out, Ben put on a police uniform and escorted Carol through the city. Then he deliberately drew attention to himself, creating a distraction that would give her a chance to escape. Pretending to be one of them, Carol boarded a subway train. Everyone around her sat silently with blank expressions. No emotion, no conversation, no reaction. Inside a restroom, she encountered one of her son's friends. The boy revealed that his entire family was gone. After leaving the subway, Tucker appeared and picked her up, taking her to his mother's house. His mother had already been completely taken over. Thankfully, nobody suspected Carol because she was acting exactly like everyone around her. A short time later, her son called. Carefully choosing every word, she spoke to him without drawing attention. During the conversation, she finally learned his exact location. Without wasting a second, she rushed there, found him, and escaped with him. But Tucker and the others quickly discovered what had happened and immediately began chasing them. After a desperate escape, Carol and her son ended up hiding inside a basement. Moments later, Tucker followed them inside. There, he tried to kill the boy. But at the last possible second, Carol attacked Tucker from behind and killed him. After escaping, mother and son took shelter inside a pharmacy. Carol gathered several medications and handed them to her son. Then she gave him a terrifying instruction. "If I fall asleep," she said, "fill a syringe with this medicine and inject it directly into my heart." Just then, Ben called. He told them he was on his way, but Carol was already struggling. After staying awake for so long, she could barely keep her eyes open. Her son was exhausted too. Eventually, he drifted off to sleep. Determined to stay awake, Carol searched the pharmacy for stimulants and anything else that might help. Meanwhile, several people outside began trying to force their way inside, but she refused to let them in. Hours passed. Her body finally gave out, and despite fighting it for as long as she could, Carol fell asleep. When her son woke up and saw her lying unconscious, panic took over. Then he remembered her instructions. Without hesitation, he prepared the syringe and injected the medicine directly into her chest. The moment it entered her body, Carol's eyes snapped open. She had awakened just in time. Whatever was happening inside her hadn't finished yet. A short time later, Ben finally arrived at the pharmacy. The moment Carol saw him, relief washed over her. She ran straight into his arms. For a brief second, everything felt okay again. Then she looked into his eyes, and her heart sank. Ben had changed. In a calm, emotionless voice, he said, "You always wanted a peaceful world, remember?" He slowly gestured toward the city. "Look around. No violence. No hatred, no war, no crime. Everyone is finally united." Carol stared at him in disbelief. "What about people like my son?" she asked. Ben's expression never changed. "People like him don't belong in the future we're creating." Then he opened the door. Outside, dozens of the changed people were already gathering, and they were all focused on one target, her son. Realizing there was no other option, Carol picked up a weapon and fought back. She shot several attackers. Even Ben wasn't spared. A bullet struck his leg, slowing him down just long enough for Carol and her son to escape. But the nightmare wasn't over. As they sped through the city, dozens of vehicles began pursuing them. The chase quickly turned into chaos. Then disaster struck. Their vehicle crashed. Everything went black. When Carol finally regained consciousness, she found herself surrounded. People were everywhere, watching, waiting. There was no way out. Then suddenly, Ben's phone started ringing. It was the scientist from the laboratory. The moment he learned that Carol's son was immune, he understood how important the boy truly was. "We can create a cure," he said, "but we need him alive." After receiving their location, the scientist immediately took off in a helicopter and headed toward the city. He instructed Carol to reach the roof of a nearby skyscraper. With hundreds of pursuers closing in behind them, Carol grabbed her son's hand and ran, up staircases, through abandoned hallways, past countless dangers. Every second mattered. Finally, after a desperate race against time, they reached the rooftop, and there it was, the helicopter. The scientist safely transported them to the laboratory, where researchers immediately began studying the boy's unique immunity. Days later, they achieved the impossible. Using his DNA, they successfully developed a cure. Slowly but surely, the treatment was distributed across the country, then across the world, and humanity began returning to normal. But there was one strange side effect. Those who recovered remembered almost nothing about the time they had changed. It was as if that entire chapter of their lives had simply vanished. Ben was one of them. He had no memory of what he had done or who he had become. As the months passed, life gradually returned to normal. Ben and Carol reunited. Their family began healing, and they even welcomed their son's best friend into their home after he lost his parents during the crisis. For the first time in a long while, everything finally seemed peaceful again. But the story leaves behind one unsettling question. If humanity could achieve perfect peace peace only by giving up what makes us human, would it really be worth it? And that's where this incredible sci-fi thriller comes to an end. If you enjoyed this recap, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.